Good Friday morning or evening, depending on where you're at. Um, Sorry I haven't been on the last couple of days. I actually had those who are Warriors fans that know they won their playoffs. Um, they had a parade yesterday and had friends come in from out of state for the parade. And they're staying a couple of days, so I've been kind of, you know, trying to stay around close by for them and be just chill. But went to the parade yesterday and got a little sunburned. Was able to record their parade, and I do have some of that on video. And I might post a little bit of it. I haven't seen how it turned out because got home yesterday and I was just extremely, extremely tired and had a lot going on. And who would be calling me? Please hold for one moment. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, my boss sent me some money to go pay one of my workers, and he didn't send it until a few minutes ago. But she was wanting to see if I was coming by pretty quick or what, so I could get her money. And of course, I'll be by here in a few to do that. Um, yeah, it's been crazy. Messed up flash drive. Anyway, yeah, the parade went good. Uh, Having to do some plumbing issues at one of our buildings. Uh, if anybody knows plumbing, they know you don't put copper pipe and galvanized pipe, connect them together without brass between them. And somebody did some patchwork on some of the plumbing, and they connected copper directly to galvanized. And now the galvanized is going through electrolysis and corroding real bad, and it's clogging up the shower faucet and making it so that don't work. So we're running with that issue. So we're got to fix that and get that stopped. And I just got so much going on. And then my company, they're actually at the zoo right now. They took the kids to the zoo, and I have to work, so I didn't get to go with. But yeah, I'm just tired. Haven't slept good for a week. Last night's actually the first decent night's sleep I've gotten in a week, at least. And the only way I could do that was got a house full, can't sleep in a recliner because there's people sleeping in them already. But so what I did was I took my pillows and kind of propped myself up in bed in a halfway sitting position and slept like that and slept like a baby. So that definitely helped. It's cold. I don't know what if it's really a cold or what to call it, it's just like having a cold, but you don't get the fever. So, kind of really weird. Uh, I've been taking some Mucinex to help with the sinus drainage and the stuff in my chest, because that's what's keeping me up at night, is all that stuff starts causing me to cough. So I'm dealing with that and trying to get that taken care of. But yeah, and I'm not sure what's going to happen. My boss, he's mentioned selling some of his buildings. He said he was actually considering selling them all, selling out. I think he's thinking about selling this building too. And I was like, okay, well, if you decide to sell this building, let me know. I get first dibs. You know, if I can find a way to get the money, I'm getting the building. You know, I'd rather own it myself and be able to take care of it right, because now I'm living. I'm making. I do the maintenance, I do the management, and all that, and I'm doing good. I'm decent on money then. I ain't paying somebody else to do the work. I just do it, and that stays in the apartment fund, and then I get more money. And it's how I gotta save money. So yeah, um, be different. It'll be okay. With me, it's not so much about being an ass towards people or anything, but if I do get the building, I'm definitely gonna have to change the rules, add rules, take some rules out. I've got to find out what the laws are in the area regarding it. But because I already have people who I know have apartment buildings, I have some of the ins and outs. Okay, this county is very hard to evict people. Okay, so yeah, it can be a pain in the butt. Um, One of the problems, and I got to check on it, is it needs some sewer work done on one of the buildings. And to help with the cost of the sewer, I can turn around and raise the rent, $100 a month or something like that. If it ain't been done, I don't know. I don't know if I can do it. Then I may be able to raise the rent $100 to cover the cost of improving the property, the welfare of the property, and it would be applied directly to the property, and it would be to benefit every tenant in here. And that's literally what would happen is every month that money would be dedicated just to property stuff to improve it. And that's the whole idea is you're getting $2,000, almost $2,000 a month for a 2-bedroom. Okay, you're not supplying the water, you're not supplying electric, you're not supplying gas. You're just supplying the garbage. So you're making, you gotta have your insurance and your bank notes and all that, but you're easily clearing, by the time you get done with just this one property here, he probably makes $5 or $10,000 a month minimum after everything's said and done. But to hear him tell it, he's not making a dime. So yeah, he could be frustrating. So if I can buy the building, I want to. It'd be worthwhile. A lot of stuff would change around here. I would be one of the things I would do is I would take away the guaranteed on-site parking. And what I would do is I would do like I'd say, okay, here's the thing. There is no guaranteed on-site or on-property parking. Okay, it'd be a new rule, but that any person parking on the property is only with the permission of the owner or management. And I would still let the people park on here. What that does is that saves problems, because then somebody comes along and says, well, they're parking in my spot. No, I told them to park there. That's not assigned to you anymore. Remember what I said. And that's what I'm trying to get my boss to understand. He's guaranteeing tenants at other properties that have garages and stuff, telling them guaranteed on-site parking. It's it. You have your own garage, but you put it in the lease, and then something happens, and you can't let them park there, have access to the garage for whatever reason. You got a bunch of construction going on, and you need to use that garage. Well, now they can throw a tantrum and contact the city and file a complaint and cause you all sorts of legal hassles because they feel they're paying extra for it, even though you're not saying they are. And he's going through that right now with one tenant. And if you leave that out, that alleviates that problem. Then the tenant, after the tenant's moved in, you tell them, hey, look, I'm not needing the garage right now. If you want to park your car in here, I'll give you a remote and let you have access to it. But just be aware that I may have to take the garage away again because I may need it for whatever reason. Okay, common sense. You don't say that this is theirs. This is their assigned parking. You don't guarantee that ever. And he's caused himself a lot of grief. Now, he's starting to listen to me on that because now he's having these legal issues and it's really hurting him. But the tenant that's causing the legal issues with him, she lived there before we got the property. So that's between her and the previous owner, that part. But because he owns it now, it extends over to him. Now at any time, he can turn around and send everybody a notice saying that he is removing the all guaranteed on-property parking and, give them a $15 deduction on rent per month since there's no guaranteed parking spot for them. And the only reason why these people are harassing him and causing him legal problems is because this other woman over here that lives on there is trying to harass him. And it's causing him grief. And yet the one who's starting all this and getting her to go to the court, trying to take him to court over this, even though she's doing it, causing these problems with this other person to start, she's being given, basically, she does what she wants. She causes grief for the tenant above her. Oh well, so what? Record it. You record it, I can take it to court and evict her. No, you can't. Not in Alameda County anyway. It's harder than a lot of people realize, and my boss will not listen to me, that you can't just evict somebody like that. In Alameda County, you've literally got the only way you can evict them, and it's a guaranteed eviction, but it takes forever because you have all these steps you got to go through, is if they don't pay their rent. And it's stupid. What good does it do to have a lease with any rules when there's no punishment if they violate them? Rules say no pets. Oh, they got a pet and they're not supposed to. It's a violation of the lease. And I don't think that's good enough reason to evict them. Eviction denied. And that's literally what the judge says. And I've seen it. Oh, well, they're causing fights with all my other tenants. They're causing trouble. I want them out of there. Nope, can't evict them. Not a reason. Eviction denied. Straight off the bat. And it's stupid. Literally, what good does it do to have a lease beyond stating what their monthly rent is? Okay? He screwed up at one building, turns around, puts in the lease that this is what the rent is, and then on top of your rent, you pay an extra so much a month to help cover the water bill. Oh, great. That's cool. No big deal. But the problem is, when a tenant decided to stop paying her rent and her portion of the water bill, he discovered he can't tack the two together. He can't tack the water bill onto the rent as a reason for a reason to evict her. Okay? They kicked it out because of it. They denied the eviction because of this. He had to start all over. Twice he tried that. And I was there for the second time, and that's why Thomas says, no, do not mention the water bill again. That's done. It's gone. You screwed up. And then he finally listened to me. And so now he's having to rewrite his leases to where it says, this is what the rent is. This much of the rent is applied to cover your water use every month. Okay? Then he can tack that on as a reason for eviction. Then he can say she failed to pay her rent, and part of her rent covered the water bill. Then he can get it in court. Just like you can sue a cop if you put either in his personal capacity or his personal capacity / professional, where he let his personal feelings towards something affect his professional part of his job. Then you can sue them. But people think, oh, you can't sue a cop, you can't sue a public official. Yes, you can. And I've seen it done. And I've seen him win the suit. And people don't listen. They don't understand this. There's always a way around a law. Even here, if I were to go and do the studying, I could find loopholes in the Alameda County eviction where even though it says you can't just evict them for anything, you can find a little loophole that says yes, you can. And if I'm right, Alameda County could be made to change that to where they couldn't just outright deny an eviction because they violated everything else, something else on the lease besides not paying their rent. I think that's unconstitutional. They encourage us to rent to people, but then when the person doesn't do what they're supposed to do, we can't get rid of them. They want us to keep them as tenants. No, I don't want to keep somebody as a tenant that's causing problems with all my other tenants. No, get out of here. And see, they even came up with a law where you've always been able to, if you decide you don't want to rent out an apartment for whatever reason, whether you want to stop renting it out because it's got too many renovations that need done and the person don't want to move, there's a way you can evict them so you can get the renovations done. But then now you have to sit on that apartment for 2 years before you can start renting it out again. Okay? The floor's half rotted out in the apartment, but the tenant won't leave and don't want you to go in there and do the repairs. Okay, but they've been causing problems with their other tenants. Well, you can't just evict them. You turn around and say, well, I'm not going to rent the apartment out. I got too many repairs. I got to get them out of there so I can do the repairs. But the tenant refuses to move. So I can't rent it out now. Okay, we'll go ahead and, y'all got to move. Sorry, he's not rented out anymore. And you can't rent the apartment now for 2 years. So even though the repairs take a month, you got to sit on it for 23 months and make no money off of it. And they did that because people like my landlord doesn't want one tenant. And because of the way Alameda County's laws are, he can't just up and evict them. So what does he have to do? He has to turn around, decide not to rent the apartment out, get them out of there doing that, and then turn around to save money, rent his house out for a year or for 2 years, and then live in the apartment after it's fixed up for 2 years. Then move back into his house and rent the apartment out. Stupid. Me? Whatever. Hell. I'm buying the building. I own the building. I'm living there. It ain't no big deal to me. I ain't got to worry about paying rent. So, yeah, $1,200 a month, whatever. I ain't going to worry about it. I'll sit on it for 2 years. I'll use it as storage until then. I'll get it decently ready and use it as my office for 2 years. After 2 years, turn around, rent it out. Boom, I'm done. But these people, that he wants to get rid of. While I don't agree with them a lot on a lot of stuff, they're decent people, and I know they want to get their bathroom remodeled. And truly, it really does need a good remodeling. Heck, most of the bathrooms in here do. What would I do? I tell them, okay, I'll tell you what. This apartment over here is empty right now. Let's move you in there for the next month or two, and I'll work with you. You want to customize the bathroom? That's fine. I'll take care of the labor. I'll take care of some of the materials within reason. Anything that's beyond normal stuff, help me cover the cost. I don't have a problem with you moving back in there after that. We'll make it look nice for you, because I want my tenants happy. But the understanding is, if I have a problem with them, they agree that they will voluntarily move out. Okay? And what we would do is we would sign a temporary lease stating that this is just an extension of the original lease. We're moving over this apartment for this many months while we do the renovations in here, and then they're moving back into their original apartment. Simple. And it would state in there that once those renovations are done, the original lease takes hold again. And we're not raising their rent either time. Either way. We're keeping it where it is. I'm going to renovate it either way. I'm not going to buy the most expensive stuff, but I'm going to buy decent. If the tenant wants something really nice, like what we did with our apartment, with our bathroom, which I will show you one day. I still haven't gotten it finished, but I'm taking my time on it because I got so much work I've got to do, and I just do this in my free time. But what I'm trying to do is, we got nice stuff in there. The bathtub we got happened to be on sale. Okay, so I got a nice bathtub. And it's not one of those real expensive bathtubs or anything, not with a spa or anything. It's just a regular soaking tub. Just sit back and relax. Okay? But the overflow tube is higher than it is in a normal bathtub. So you get an extra, 4 inches of water in there, which means for most people, it's pretty much enough to cover up their whole body. Okay? I like that. I soak in the tub because of my back. And it helps. So, yeah. And of course, the old lady, she wanted one of those single-handed shower valves. I don't like them too much because they're harder to work on, but okay, she wanted it, she got it. But this is like $200 for a shower assembly. It has all the valves, it has the valve assembly, it has the shower head, the little spout down here, Beautiful. It's like a bronze color. I think it's Delta is the brand. But anyway, we wanted to make it match. So we got matching towel bars. $20+ for a little towel bar 18 inches long. Insane. But it matches. We got the toilet paper holder. We got the little towel ring that goes next to the sink. We got the faucet to match. All the handles match. It's all the same finish. Because she likes everything to match. Hey, I ain't gonna complain. I like it. The tile on around the bathtub enclosure, that was giving issues because there's little quirks over there with that. Okay, on the wall. So it was mosaic. Okay, it's hard to get it right and get it perfect. And I don't like doing wall tiles. I can do them. But when you're messing with mosaics, good God, you're screwed, one of them things. So, yeah. So I did that the best I could. It looks decent. It's not perfect. The tile she decided she wanted for mosaics, we originally were supposed to go with this Subway glass. And the tiles, it's the mosaic tiles, but they're greenish colored glass. Beautiful. Well, she decided she wanted these because they didn't have enough in store of the tiles we wanted. They would have to order them. I'd rather had to wait for them to get the tiles in, if that's what it took. So yeah, that kind of changed things there. Then little things here and there. For the floor, we got this. It's like it kind of looks like a marble. I don't think I've got any down here, or do I? Yeah, I got some, but I think they're all on. I got them on from a. It's called Restore. They take used stuff and resell it, and it's usually construction materials. Sometimes it's some kind of furniture, but quite often they have new stuff as well as far as tile goes. And we went in there and got this tile, and it's beautiful tile. I like it. I mean, it's a nice tile. And originally, at one point, we're going to use that on the wall. And then she's like, well, let's go with the subway glass. Okay, fine, that's fine. We'll go ahead and do this on the floor. I've got enough for the floor. Then she comes back and she's like, well, let's go with this other one instead of subway glass, since they don't have enough subway glass in stock. Fine. It's like $7.89 a square foot for this stuff, though. So I wound up, I'm not getting paid to do the job, and I wound up having to throw in several $100s to help cover the cost, because it was the amount spent was astronomical. Okay, the tiles that we're using on the floor, I got those. The backer board for the floor, I got that. Okay, the mortar, I got it. The grout, I got it. I paid for a lot of that stuff. So yeah, it came out of pocket. I don't mind. And I especially don't mind if I wind up buying the building. I will enjoy it if I buy this building. And he's talking about painting it. And he's chose his paint. And it's a semi-gloss. I don't have a problem with the semi-gloss. But I don't like the colors, really. Yeah, I can live with them. They're okay. But, he's worried about dirt showing. So he's trying to choose a brownish color. So he chose like a rustic brown for the walls, and then this kind of a reddish brown for the trim on the buildings. Yeah, it'll work. It's not exactly ideal. It's not exactly the color I like, but hey, it's not my buildings. Now, if I buy them, hell yeah. If I can afford it, I'm changing the paint as fast as I can. The sidewalks, if I buy the building, I'm stripping them all the way down. I'm stripping them back down to bare concrete the way it should be. I'm getting it the right materials, and I'm doing it right. Okay? And basically what that means is I will literally build a walkway that's elevated up off the ground and paint a section, put the plywood down for people to walk on, paint another section, put that down, and just work with it. But with him, the way he wants it so quick, so cheap. He doesn't want to buy enough. That stuff's expensive, the epoxy paint. And then you can't walk on it for, 4 or 5 hours, depending on when you do it. And of course, he had to have it done in the middle of winter. And it's getting down to 50 degrees at night. And I have to do it at night. That's the only time I can do it, because that's the least amount of traffic. And you still get traffic. And it's just one thing after another. So it's crazy. Last night, frustrating. I feel bad for the people. They don't get a lot of money. They have very little money. He works as much as he can, but because he's having to go, they're both going through issues because they had been involved in some heavy drugs for a while there. They're going through the rehab and all that. They're trying to clean themselves up. They've got a son, 2 years old, and they're trying to get cleaned up and be able to take care of their son properly. I applaud them for it. But because of all the appointments they have to go through and all this, he can't work as many hours. Okay? So they get very little money. They're doing good to even get, like, at the most, I don't think they make $200 a week most weeks. Okay? And then they live off of, they're on housing, and then they get cash aid with their food stamps. And that's what they survive on. But the post office lost their rent check this month. They got the money order, paid it, put it in the mail, because my boss, it has to be paid by mail. Can't hand them the check. No, got to be paid by mail. Post office lost the money order. And they can't find the receipt. So now they're digging, they're trying to find it. He's threatening to evict them if they don't pay the rent, so they had to pay another $100 and something on their portion of the rent until they find the receipt and get with the post office and get the money order replaced. So now they ran out of diapers for their son. They had like 1 or 2 left and no money to buy diapers with no cash. Okay? Now these are friends of mine. They live a few blocks away. They got home from doing the treatment, taking care of a couple of bills, and had only a couple dollars left. And they're like, we need some help. And they told me. And I said, okay. Because they just put their son down for his nap. It was getting late in the evening, but they just barely made it home. And they put him down for a nap. And I told him, I said, when he gets up, get dressed, and I'll go ahead and take you down and get you some diapers. And they needed to do a little grocery shopping. It was getting late, so, I went ahead and let them do their grocery shopping and brought them home. No big deal. Okay. Their food stamps paid for their groceries. They still had that. But all their cash aid and all that was spent paying their bills and having to pay him their portion of the rent twice in 1 month because of a fuck up. Pardon my language. But yeah, it's aggravating. And my boss, he's like, well, I didn't see it, so it's not paid. Show me a receipt. Well, we don't have the receipt right here. We don't know where it is right this second because we didn't think about keeping it where we could grab it in a heartbeat, And then they've been sick, so their house is a mess. They got the same thing I do, but because they're going through all this rehab for their having done drugs in the past, it really slams them. So they didn't even get to work hardly. He only got he didn't get a big check anyway. And it's just, I felt bad for him, So I don't have a problem doing that. I know they need to have money to be able to get around, so I gave an extra $20. Can I afford it? Not really. But I don't want to see their son not having diapers. I just can't do that, I'd rather be late on a bill than see them not have diapers for their kid. Now, I know there's churches out there that would supply them with diapers if they needed them. All they had to do was call the church. But they don't even have a car right now. So how can they do that? And then we're dealing with another issue. I gave him my 96 Maxima. And the engine had been taken apart because I had to do a head gasket on it. And me and him were working on getting it together. Well, we had to stop for a little bit. Well, one of the tenants, she's going ahead and her boyfriend's going to retile her apartment for her, put tile down in the living room and all that. And my boss is paying for the materials and all this, so no big deal. She takes a bunch of stuff out of her apartment that she doesn't want, and she just crams it in the garage, in amongst the 2 boxes with stuff for the car in it. One was just a storage tote, and one was a cardboard box. And she puts her dresser that she's throwing away in front of the car. In front of his car, nonetheless, and blocks it in. We can't get to the car to work on it. And she did stupid stuff, She blocked it in. Then my boss scheduled her an oversized garbage pickup to get all that stuff out of there. She grabs the cardboard box with the car parts in there, and there was a a drop light. It was a little desk lamp that it wound up being set in the box with the few car parts in there, and it had the alternator for that car in it. And she put that out there at the curb. And it was a Sunday night, and they pick up the garbage on Monday morning. And I happened to go over there just to make sure the garbage had gotten out because somebody else is doing it for me now. And I see the top of the lamp sticking out of the cardboard box. I'm like, what the hell? So I parked real quick, ran over there, and discovered it was my box. But the alternator was already gone. Somebody had already went through the box. So now I'm in the process of trying to get her to replace the alternator. That was a brand new alternator. I put it on there, and that thing didn't even have maybe 100 miles on it, and it had a lifetime warranty on it through AutoZone. And that's like a $140 alternator. It was it had a higher amperage on it than stock because I had a nice little sound system in there, and I didn't have a capacitor on there, so I needed the oversized alternator. But yeah, and she doesn't speak much English. She's not very good at speaking English, so somebody has to always translate for her. So now I got to deal with this, and it's like, come on, why me? So yeah, we're working on that, and I'm going to try and work with my friend when we work on the car and see if he'll let me get some video with him in it. You know, not a big deal. I can't see him really not letting me do it, but we'll see what happens. But I got to get going. I've got to get to Home Depot and pick up some materials. I got too much to do and not enough time to do it. And I already spent too long on this live feed, unfortunately. I should have already been gone. But I just wanted to give y'all a little update on what's going on. If I do buy this building, I will probably be hiring me somebody to work for me. You know, I'll comp them half their rent and give them a little extra every month. You know, and they don't have to work for me full time. Just 10 hours a week or something. You know, I don't have a problem with that. That way they can work their regular job, and I'll have somebody helping me. Because if I work here and dedicate all my time here, well, yeah, I'm saving money by doing it myself, but at the same time, I can't do other work. So I'm going to work things out, and, if nothing else, I can always get some other people I know out here and get them working. You know, people are always looking for work, and I'll always find somebody to work for me. And I'm going to pay them a decent price, and I'm not going to pay them top dollar, but I'm not going to pull a cheap one like my boss does. I mean, to him, $10 an hour is fine. And he says, yeah, $10 is fine, but I'm not taking taxes out for you. Well, yeah, you're not paying my taxes. I'm the one paying my taxes. So by the time I take my taxes out, I'm making like $6 an hour, something like that, you know. I'm not making what I should make. I'm not even making minimum wage. And then there's jobs where you don't get paid by the hour, you get paid for the job. And he doesn't want to pay the wage for that job. You know, $175 is what a licensed plumber would pay to snake out a sewer line. Minimum. I want $100 to snake out the same sewer line. And he says, no, I supplied you with the rubber boots, I supplied you with the sewer snake, $50 is what you can get. What? You're getting a $75 discount because you're supplying this stuff, and you want to go less? You want a $125 discount? That's stupid. No. Originally, he only wanted to pay me $25. I said, fuck no. So yeah, he's starting to slowly realize I'm tired of his games. And see, I got so much to do. I still gotta find a way of mounting these where they can be seen on the property, on all of them. So, and then people say, well, you can't do that legally. Yes, I can. I can record my property all I want. You're living here. Well, you got to let us know about it. Well, what do you think I did? I gave everybody a notice saying that I was going to be on the roof and up and down and on ladders on the side of the building running conduit for cable, for the cable wires for the cameras we're putting in. So there's cameras. And when we have a new tenant come in and they're looking at the apartment as a possibility, we let them know, yeah, we've got security cameras here and they're all working, and they're actively maintained. Anything happens and we know about it, we can actually pull up the video, find out what happened, and address that issue right then and there. But, one of those things. So things have slowed down as far as the issue with the security cameras go. Everybody's like, it is a good thing we got the cameras. Because we know people are doing stuff they're not supposed to do on the property, coming on the property. Like somebody was coming back here to the back corner and taking a dump on the ground outside the building. Caught one tenant, one of his friends, comes out of the apartment before I got the gate opener installed. The gate was left open. Somebody had left it open that day. He comes out of the apartment, comes down the stairs, walks around, starts to go around the driveway gate to go out, and then he stops and comes down the driveway to where there's a little jog where the sidewalk kind of snakes around, and stops there and takes a leak. He just came out of the apartment. Why are you coming out of an apartment and taking a leak to leave? That's stupid. So I confronted the tenant. He says, no, I don't. None of my friends do that. I said, dude, I've got him on camera. What do he look like? And I told him, he says, he's not one of my friends. Well, that's funny. He came out of your apartment. So you're telling me you had somebody that you don't even know in your apartment? And you were there? He shut up real quick. And the guy never did it again. And that's why one of the reasons why we got cameras. That's disgusting. Okay? We don't have a problem with you smoking outside, smoking on the property. Okay? You're not supposed to smoke in your apartments at all. No marijuana, no nothing. Outside. Fine. I don't care. I don't smoke. I quit smoking years ago. Hell, it's been that was in 2001 I quit. And really, I kind of hate the smell of cigarette smoke, but I can deal with it. It doesn't affect me like it does some people. But what bothers me is when people take their cigarette butts and just flick them out on the driveway. Hell, one guy, he would sit in his apartment window, smoke his cigarette, and flick it out the window. Sometimes he'd flick it down the sidewalk below his window, and sometimes he'd flick it out into the yard next door, where it's overgrown because the guy that owns the property has some people using it, and they're supposed to be taking care of the grass and everything, and they're not. And it's dry and very flammable in the middle of a drought, and he's flicking it out there in the grass, still lit. And then when I say something, he says, oh, that was probably one of my friends. I'm trying to get him to stop doing that. And I'm like, dude, what you don't realize is the camera that catches that back side happens to catch the side of the building, and when somebody's smoking there, it stands out. Okay? And we can see who it is. And it wasn't one of your friends, dude. And I told him, I don't care that you smoke. Put it in get you a coffee can, get you a tin can, I'll give you some cat litter to put in there, and put your cigarette butts in there. Do that. And I'll happily come by once a week and dump the cigarette butts out. I'd rather dump the cigarettes out, get the cigarette butts out of a coffee can, than pick them up off the ground. Because if they're on the ground in the driveway, cars run all over them, and they get ground down. And it's just, people don't care. So, if it continues, smoking will be banned from the property, period. And that's going to suck for a lot of people because of one or two people. So yeah, got to enforce the rules though. And my boss, he's getting tired of the same stuff I am. That's why he's actually considering selling. And me, I'm the type, I'll take care of it. You know, I'll address the issue. I'll be like, yeah, I got that. Guess what? We got a tenant over here. He moved in. He sits on the stairs in the stairwell of the building inside. It's an inside stairwell. He'll sit in there and smoke on the steps. And we really weren't saying nothing about it until we found a cigarette butt where somebody flicked their ashes on the windowsill, then put their cigarette butt out on the windowsill, and just left the cigarette butt sitting there. And that's when my boss says, no, this ain't happening. And he said, no more. No smoking in the stairwell, no smoking in your apartment. You gotta smoke outside. So the guy sits outside, just outside the entryway, and smokes his cigarette butts there and throws them on the ground. What? What's wrong with people? You know, have some respect. But anyway, I gotta get going. I'll holler at y'all later. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Thank you for watching my videos, and have a wonderful weekend.